Capricorn, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, we review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they interact with your natal sun and what that means for your day-to-day. Not all Capricorn's natal sun is in the same spot. So you can have one Capricorn that has a really great month, great week, and another Capricorn not having such a good week at all. So we're going to dig into the advanced astrology, but first we're going to start really broad with the big stuff, the stuff that everybody should know about. And then we're going to focus that information down to Capricorn specific information. And then we'll break things down into the decans. A decan is a group of 10 degrees. There are 3 decans in every single zodiac sign because all zodiac signs have a total of 30 degrees. And in astrology, this helps astrologers understand how your natal suns are actually being impacted by what angle they're forming to other planets, because based on that 10 degrees is how we decide whether or not an aspect, which is an angle that creates a relationship between 2 planets, is being formed or not. And they can be very different aspects that are formed depending on where your sun sits in the zodiac sign of Capricorn. If you don't know what I mean by that, I mean your sun sits on one of the 30 degrees in the zodiac sign of Capricorn. You don't have to know where your sun sits in Capricorn to enjoy this video. All you need to know is your birthday. That's it. Come along with me and we will chat astrology, because I will give you sort of coordinating estimates of the birthdays that are really going to be engaged or that are really going to be hit with the energy. But if you do have your natal chart, that is the most accurate way to understand how your natal sun is going to be impacted. And if you don't have it, then you can get it. It's free, it's easy. Excuse me, so many places online do it. Just search free natal chart, free birth chart, either one. And so many websites do it. You'll need your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location, and then you'll get your birth chart in a couple of seconds. But stay with me now. You don't need it. All you need to know is when your birthday is. Let's start really, really broad, Capricorn. So for the week of June 28th through July 4th, yay! Can you freaking even believe that? Like, no. 2023 legitimately started yesterday. Like, it flew by, right? Remember when we were having that full moon in Cancer? I mean, seriously, that's 6 months ago now, because we're about to have a full moon in Capricorn this week on July 3rd. We're going to talk all about it. So that's one of the big things. We also have a retrograde that is happening. Neptune goes retrograde, I believe, on July 1st. Yep, July 1st, Neptune goes into retrograde. That's Neptune retrograde. Actually, I kind of like Saturn retrograde. I kind of like Pluto retrograde. They become more silent and internal, but Neptune, which is already kind of internal and very dreamy, it's almost like you have your vices taken away. You have your imaginary, you have your buffer of imagination or escapism taken away, or it gets lax. So it's almost lax. So it's almost like the veil being pulled back when Neptune goes into retrograde. And that's why it's so easy to go into excess when Neptune is into retrograde, because we're trying to overcompensate, needing that escape in other ways. This is the dog days of summer. This is what great memories are made out of. But when it interacts with other planets, it could be an issue. Now, it's not much of an issue this week. It's actually quite pleasant this week. But just an FYI, so you know, Neptune is in retrograde until the fall time, until October. So until October, maybe November. Yeah, it happens every single summer, or yeah, it happens every single year around this time, at least since I've been studying astrology. So it's nothing like cataclysmic that's happening, but it does leave us a little bit lacking of escapism, and so people tend to overcompensate anything that will feed their dreams or help them keep their imagination. Not a really great time to make important decisions when it comes to politics, when it comes to medicine, when it comes to money, when just like, and I'm talking about big decisions. Not a great time, simply because we tend to overcompensate on the dreaminess for the retrograde of Neptune. So kind of interesting that the real estate market skyrockets during the summer, right? People are just trying to make their dreams come true at this point. Like I said, let's see how it interacts, especially with you guys. I don't think it's going to actually be a bad week at all. I think it's going to be quite beautiful, and let me explain why. We have a full moon on July 3rd. So Neptune goes into retrograde on July 1st. On July 3rd, we have a full moon in Capricorn. It's at 14 degrees Capricorn. It's going to hit you guys. It is. And oh my God, is this a big full moon? Now, I guess I get overexcited about all full moons. Full moons happen once every single month, but this one is in opposition to Mercury as well as the sun, because Mercury is conjunct the sun. So there is a sense of revelation or revealing, especially things that do not work or haven't functioned, or creepy things that could have been going on, manipulative things that people would have rather kept silent, being exposed or talked about or communicated, because we have that friction, something causing that friction. This full moon is also trine to Jupiter, so everything is going to be more exaggerated and bigger and larger than life, so it's going to be magnified. It's also trine to Uranus because of where the full moon sits in Capricorn. It's like dead center. It's 14 degrees Capricorn. So because of that, it's Jupiter is between 8 and 9 degrees Taurus, and Uranus is 21 degrees Taurus. So it's legitimately in that perfect trine right between the two, directly between the two, and on either side you have this full moon forming a trine to Jupiter and a trine to Uranus simultaneously. So expect those, like, it's almost like splitting down the middle. It's a once in a lifetime shot. This is a sense of strange and wonderful things can happen because of whatever this full moon ends up releasing. And I'm just excited, but it's definitely going to impact you guys. We also all week long have Saturn, which impacts you, trine to the Sun conjunct Mercury, which is really favorable energy. It's mature, it's personal authority over yourself, being able to work correctly and work effectively and be seen and noticed for it, and things that make sense, to be able to figure things out, figure out puzzles that you haven't before. Things will make sense under this trine. And it's really, really progressive. I love that energy. We also continue to have Venus conjunct Mars, even tighter this week than last week. They're within 2 degrees of each other. This is a big energy because it's extraordinarily sexual energy. I think the fact that it's happening in Leo makes it even bigger, because Leo is the house of romance and the heart. And so there are major dynamic breakthroughs that are happening with our sexuality and sensuality. There's also a square between Uranus and this conjunction, and there's a trine between Chiron and this conjunction. I talked a little bit about it this week. We continue to make progress and rebel against the norm being what got us into trouble to begin with, what caused that trauma, what caused that suffering. It's that understanding and education from Chiron that has taught us, be different, do it differently. And so I don't think you're going to be seeing the same thing happening in your relationships. This could be very healing energy. We also have Jupiter sextile Saturn and sextile the Sun all week long, including the full moon. This is... when I tell you anything could happen, and this is really blessed energy, I love it. It's something big. It's concerning Saturn and Capricorn. Something is going on, breakthrough when it comes to industry, corporate world, the business world, could even be financial, though that would be more Taurus. But Jupiter is in Taurus, and so is Uranus. It's throwing us curveballs left and right. I can tell you that. let's see how all this energy impacts you guys in particular. So in the zodiac sign of Capricorn, you have Pluto retrograde sitting at 29 degrees. So that is conjunct to all the Capricorns, which was like that when it was in Aquarius too, because it didn't get deep into Aquarius. It's Capricorn 3s. It's conjunct your natal sun, especially those of you sitting on the Capricorn Aquarius cusp. And then we have the full moon. The full moon is at 14 degrees Capricorn, which means it is conjuncting all of Capricorn 2s. All of you. Every single one of you, because it goes from 10 to 19 degrees. It's sitting dead center. So legitimately, this full moon is within 4 or 5 degrees of all of your natal suns. This is a powerful conjunction with this full moon, and this is a powerful breakthrough full moon. Now, full moon conjunct your natal sun is a catharsis and a release of responsibility, like not responsibilities, this sense of stuff that you've had to do, the stuff that you've let build up inside of you to release the toxins of your emotions, to be able to get things out. There's a beautiful energy of mad power and mad strength that comes from this full moon. So definitely manifest with this moon, you guys, Capricorn 2s especially. I did do a manifest with the moon, Earth moon. I think it's over on Born Without Boundaries. Definitely search it out because it has a couple of really powerful manifestation techniques for manifesting specifically with Earth moons. This is beautiful energy for all of you, but especially those of you in the second decan of Capricorn. And then we have, like I said, the full moon is in opposition to Mercury conjunct the sun, which makes it so much more powerful and revealing. Now, what is Saturn doing? Well, Saturn is your ruling dignitary, so you should always know what Saturn is doing. This week, Saturn is actually retrograding 1 degree back. So it's going from 7 to 6 degrees Pisces. It is in retrograde, still in Pisces. It is trine the sun conjunct Mercury, which is just such well-structured, responsible, and like productive energy. And then it's also trine the south node. It is also trine the south node means there's comfort with how you're doing things. There's an ease with which we do things. There's knowing and being confident because of experience. And then there's a semi-square to Chiron, which means there is a little frustration and agitation, maybe even with physical injury. And then a sextile to Jupiter, which means that yes, we can fix things, we can get things done. There's no problem that we can't find a solution to. So this is a highly productive and blessed healing week for you. I just love it, to be honest with you. So Capricorn, let's get into the decans, shall we? If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Capricorn, it is in the first decan of Capricorn, and you are Capricorn 1s. This correlates to December Capricorns. Usually December 22nd through the 31st would be Capricorn 1s. Your natal suns, lots happening with you guys. So your natal suns are in opposition to the sun conjunct Mercury up through the 2nd. So if you are born between, like, say, the 30th or 31st, it's going to be all week long. But for those of you who are born earlier, closer to that Sagittarius cusp, it'll be over. That opposition will be really over for you by the 2nd. But we do have that powerful full moon on the 3rd. So you're going to still feel that anyway. It's just going to sort of radiate. But the sun and Mercury are moving pretty quickly. So toward the end of the week, they're already well into or firmly into the 2nd decan. But those of you born on the 30th, 31st will still be within, I would say, 5 degrees, 5-6 degrees of it. So you'll still get that impact. What is that impact? Revelations, like something being revealed all of a sudden. Aha, it's like gonna bug you and bother you until it just pops out at you. We also have a sextile to Saturn, so it's almost like figuring out how to make something work that maybe has stumped you. If you've had an issue that's just been bugging you, this is the time when you finally are able to attack it and figure it out. We have a long-term, if you're at the cusp between Sagittarius and Capricorn, which is the 30th, the 22nd, 23rd. of December. It's you have a long-term square to Neptune. Now Neptune is kind of highly activated right now, so there can be some sort of dizziness, or like not ditziness, or like distraction, easily distracted. That's coming over the next couple of years. It's certainly challenging you to get more in touch with your creative side. This week, we also have a long-term trine to the North Node and trine to Jupiter, which means, I wrote down, especially if you're born around the 30th or 31st, but all of you really are trine to Jupiter. This is happiness and abundance. It's tranquility, it's harmony and expansion through growth. It's feeling good about allowing the universe to kind of come in and help you out and guide you. Faith is a big thing with trines to Jupiter. So this energy of just let yourself be open and receptive to growth and expansion. Especially of the financial kind, since Jupiter sits in Taurus. If you are at the cusp between Sagittarius and Capricorn, your natal suns are quincunx to this Venus conjunct Mars. So there's a lot of sexual frustration and sexual tension. Could even be tension when it comes to your relationship. Tension doesn't have to be bad. It can also be extremely stimulating, but it won't let you rest. I'm just going to leave it there. Capricorn 2s. So Capricorn 2s. If your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Capricorn, it falls in the second decan of Capricorn, so you are Capricorn 2s. This correlates to birthdays between January 1st and 10th, maybe into the 11th, depending on the year. Usually in and around that time, so like the first week and a half of January. You guys are the ones that are conjunct to that full moon on the 3rd, and it is going to hit you, and it is going to be big, at least very emotional. It's almost like it's for you guys, because when a moon is conjunct the sun, it's new, so it's almost like, but this is full, so it's almost like I cannot express enough. You guys have to manifest. You have got to fucking manifest, because you got the power of the full moon, and it's conjunct your natal sun, right, in opposition to the sun conjunct Mercury, which has a lot to do with words and intellect and using words to communicate. You must write this down. You must use written form and words and manifestation to really manifest the shit out of this full moon, because you got the power of the full moon. But when a moon conjuncts your natal sun, it's almost like a mini reset. It's almost like a mini start over. It's being open and receptive, like it's a new moon with new things coming into your life. So this is the time to manifest. This is the time to ask. This is the time to pray. Your prayers will be heard. They'll be answered. They always will be, but this is super powerful and strong for you guys. Just an FYI. All week long, your natal suns, by the 2nd for most of you. Those of you born maybe around the 1st or 2nd will feel this earlier, but by the 2nd, the opposition to the sun conjunction to Mercury, you'll start feeling it. And what does that mean? Major stimulus. Could even be very frustrating, but it will not leave you alone, and it'll keep nagging at you any kind of information or seeing it or understanding it, and maybe understanding things to the degree that you didn't even want to, but it's going to be there. It's going to be there. We also have a trine to Jupiter all week long, which is blessings, abundance. It could be fortune, but it's also just allowing the abundance to come in, through gratitude, healing. This could be financial abundance, since Jupiter is in Taurus. This is beautiful. We also have a trine to Uranus. Remember what I said about that full moon. So the trine to Jupiter is definitely tighter if you are born toward the beginning of the second decan, which is around the 1st or 2nd of January. The trine to Uranus is definitely stronger if you're born around the 9th, 10th, which is the end of the second decan. But any of y'all, you're going to feel the trine to both of them. A trine to Uranus is just a sort of super exciting ease, when it comes to surprises or being impractical and wanting changes and being interested in things that will change who you are or change your life. It is a little bit of a personal rebellion, but in a way that helps to balance things out. And then we have a sextile to Saturn, especially if you're born 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of January. This is a tremendously productive energy, confidence, strength, and really becoming almost an authority figure in something. So really getting a chance to shine this week. Beautiful. And if you are born around the 10th or 11th, hold on. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave it there. I would love to know in the comments below how you guys feel about this full moon and how you've been impacted. It's so powerful, and I want you to use it for manifestation purposes because it's just an opportunity that is extraordinary. Do it. How many moons are also, how many full moons are conjunct your natal sun, also opposite Mercury and trine to Jupiter? Use your words and manifest because luck is with you. And then we have Capricorn 3s. So Capricorn 3s, your natal suns are between 20 and 29 degrees. This correlates to those birth dates between, say, the 11th and the 21st of January. You're the ones who are conjunct to Pluto, especially those of you born on the Aquarius cusp, so around the 20th, 21st, maybe 22nd, if that's when Capricorn ended that year. Conjunction to Pluto means major authority in your own person and a definite change in your lives. Major changes and major reconstruction of the self is what it is. These are renovations. They will change you. They're like metamorphosis. You will not be coming back from them. And yes, it can be a very, very good thing. It just depends on how you guide it. You also have a long-term sextile to Neptune, which we've been over before. This releases fantastic creative energy, poetic, musical energy, any kind of creativity you'll be inspired by. You will find your mind thinking in more imaginative ways, and you'll also find yourself connecting deeper to faith. We have, if you're born around the 11th, 12th, a square to Chiron. So it's predominantly those of you who are born between the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th of Capricorn that are really in a very strong square to Chiron. And this could mean basically just everything is harder. Everything has seemed for the past year into the next year, it's just going to be like, why does everything have to be so hard? Because Chiron is sitting there square to your sun, and it's challenging you. It's trying to build you up. It's trying to train you in whatever the difficulties are to get prepared. Believe me, there's abundance on the other side. It just is a couple of years, up to 3 years, where it's just a real pain in the you-know-what. And you're coming out onto the other side of it now. If you are born around the 9th, 10th, going into the 11th, 12th, because Chiron is at 19 degrees Aries, it's going to start heading into the 3rd decan of Aries, so it's going to get deeper and closer to the 11th, 12th. But believe me, those Capricorns and those Cancerians, because they're both square to Aries, they've been feeling it for the past couple of years too. It's just everything seems, why is it so frickin' hard? And also a lot more physical injuries, just stuff that aches and pains you didn't even know you had, like where'd they even come from? Stuff coming out. And so this is not uncommon with a square to Chiron, just FYI. And take any necessary steps that you need to take to nurture yourself, heal yourself, or get a doctor's attention as well if it's manifesting physically. And then we have a trine to Uranus, which is long term. That's also just this sense of, especially for those of you born around the 11th, 12th, 13th, in the beginning of that 3rd decan, this is especially powerful for you guys, this trine, which is just making you want to challenge the norm and maybe even in some ways get more tech savvy, right? Or become more technologically integrated. That could be happening too. But this week, there's a quincunx to that Venus conjunct Mars, and that quincunx to Venus conjunct Mars is kind of sort of, yeah, hold on a second. I don't know why I said that for Capricorn ones. It's not you guys. It's not you guys. Oh, you know what? It's not a quincunx. It's a loose opposition for Capricorn ones, because they're at the very, very end of Leo, between Leo and Virgo. And you guys are at the very, very end of Capricorn. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Capricorn, between Capricorn and Aquarius. So for Capricorn ones, it's a loose opposition. So that could cause some major issues or frustrations or stimulations to your romantic proclivities. But when it comes to a quincunx, that's just you know, irritations, things that frustrate you, things that you're not understanding about maybe your own sexuality, or just your sexual relationship and partnerships, or just irritations. And I don't know if they could be used to be good, but ultimately just know that that could potentially be an irritable or a irritation this week, or I don't think it's a real rough patch between you and your loved one, but it will be more rubbing against each other than normal, and maybe this could lead to actually a lot of sexuality too, because there's that powerful energy there. You let me know in the comments below. I would love to know, and please remember, give this video a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to Astrology Motivation. Then come on over and share your week ahead tarot card reading with me over on Born Without Boundaries. I'll see you guys there. Bye, Capricorn.